Week 11 Buffalo Bills recap for you here. Buffalo's back in the win column after 2 straight losses. The Bills get back on track, get to 6-5 on the season, above 500, and are right in the thick of this playoff hunt, going down the stretch now. So things are looking up after 1 week of the Joe Brady era in Buffalo, and we'll get into it here. Buffalo 32, Jets 6. First time Buffalo's put up 30 points in a game since week 4 when they blew out Miami at home, and that is absolutely wild. I didn't believe that. I had to go back and look it up a couple times because I thought maybe I missed a game here or there, and that's just how underwhelming this Bills team's been this season, man. It's been that long since Buffalo has scored over 30 points in a game. So yesterday was a breath of fresh air, and you could just see it, man. You could see it from the players. You could see it from the fans. Just, you can't know for sure after 1 week if just getting rid of Ken Dorsey was really all that was needed. But after 1 week, it's definitely going to be an argument for those of us that were on the Dorsey's got to go train, and for those that kept saying that he was the scapegoat and he shouldn't have been fired. Well, after 1 week, yesterday's performance by the Bills definitely hurts your argument. So, but yeah, we'll get into the game real quick here, and then I'll give you some thoughts on the Bills going forward. Buffalo looked very good yesterday. They looked like a team that is ready to make a deep run into December. And they look like the Bills team that we thought that they were going to be coming into this year. All 3 phases of the team, complemented each other, and that's something that Sean McDermott's been just preaching in almost every one of his press conferences this year, is they need to play complementary football. And yesterday they did just that. Right off the bat, first play of the game, Reggie Gilliam on the kickoff return forces the fumble, and Buffalo steals an early possession and an early 3 points. The offense definitely did take a quarter or so to wake up and find its groove and its rhythm, but the one thing that was always a knock against Ken Dorsey was that he never had those plays that if something was going wrong or something was stalled out, that he could dial it up and get Josh and the guys refocused. That was something that Brian Daboll did all the time, and that's why the Bills' offense was so successful under him. And yesterday you could see whenever they needed some yards, it looked like it was an out route pass to James Cook to pick up a quick 4 or 5 and just get the momentum going to get positive yardage. And for the most part yesterday, when James Cook touched that football, he rewarded the Bills. He was a heavily involved guy in the running game yesterday, and he was targeted quite a bit in the passing game, and that's something I've been screaming for all season long, is just get the ball in his hands, and I would like to see more of it going forward. I mean, sure, yesterday was a good start, but let's keep it going. I mean, this guy is a playmaker. He rewards your team way more often than not when you let him be him. And there was a few examples yesterday. Josh would get it to him on a quick screen in space, he'd make a guy miss, and rather than a 2-yard gain, he turned it into a 12-yard gain. And that was something that this offense has just been missing, and yesterday was a nice first step, I think, in the right direction when it comes to that. The other thing on offense I'll touch on again, I've been saying it for the past, 2-3 weeks now, is that Buffalo sorely needs a number 2 receiver on this team. Yet again, Gabe Davis without a stat line yesterday, 0 catches, 0 targets. I don't know if that's just Buffalo trying to be, take him out of their game plan because it's a contract year and they're not planning on moving forward with him, or what. But Diggs got some touches. Granted, he was kept in check for the most part, but when your supposed number 2 receiver doesn't even get a target yesterday, to me that sounds like he's got one foot out the door, and the Bills offense is trying to see what they've got in other guys, before they invest on bringing somebody else in. That's just my opinion, but to be determined, I suppose. Defense-wise, the defense, I don't know what else you can say about this team on defense, for as banged up and beat down and hurt and whatever other adjective you can use of this Bills defense, man. They continue to play hard and tough. Yes, it was the Jets and it was Zach Wilson. I get that. But other than the last drive of the first half, the Jets offense didn't do anything. And honestly, the only reason why they ended up with 6 points at all was because of the fake punt on that last drive of the first half where they caught Buffalo sleeping. Because they were on their 15-yard line, and you would think, no way are they going to fake punt this. And they did. But, other than that, this Bills defense was just bullying Zach Wilson yesterday. I think they said it was 6 sacks total. And, they bullied him so bad, they knocked him out of the football game. And as I'm recording this, now it's been announced, he's been delegated to the third-string quarterback in the Jets locker room. So, no, that wasn't due to one bad game. He's obviously had that coming. But, that Bills defense yesterday, for as banged up and hurt as they are, and even during the game, they lost 3 more guys in the secondary. They play angry. They play fast. My only complaint with them up to this point in the season is they just need to play smarter. They got to cut down on the penalties. And I think that's something that reflects on Sean McDermott a little bit, especially since he's the defensive, play caller of this season too. So, for all the fire McDermott people out there, that's obviously going to be, one on your checklist. But for the most part, I don't know how you can really find anything wrong with yesterday's defensive performance. Heck, you want to give a shout out to Rasul Douglas, newly acquired player that Buffalo brought in from Green Bay. Last week against Denver was his first full game as a Bill, and then obviously yesterday against the Jets, and in his 2 full game appearances so far, he has 4 turnovers himself. He has 2 fumble recoveries and 2 picks. And you talk about making Brandon Beane look like an absolute genius. What a pickup that was. And he, in my eyes, should be the unanimous Week 11 AFC Defensive Player of the Week. I would assume he'd be, but we'll see. But, yeah, there was a great defensive showing yesterday. And then, like I said, special teams, the way they started the game. Tyler Bass was perfect on his field goals. He did miss an extra point, but he was perfect on his field goal attempts. Sam Martin had a better day punting. He still ranks 31st in NFL punters this season. I can't remember on which statistics they base that off of, but as of this morning, he ranks 31st among NFL punters, which is absolutely wild, because it was just 2 seasons ago where he was, demanding all that money from Denver to stay. So, luckily, this Bills team is not built to punt. So, from the kinks that I think that they can work out, man, hopefully that Sam Martin issue is not going to be as big of a deal going forward. But, a few thoughts on this Bills team going forward. It's well noted that their schedule is going to be really tough. Just next week they travel to Philadelphia, bye week. After that, then they travel to Kansas City, and looking ahead to the other teams they got to play, they got Dallas, they got Miami, they got New England, they got the Chargers. I've been saying it for about 2 months now. I always saw this Bills team ceiling as being 10 wins, and I really think it's still obtainable for this team even after the garbage losses that they've had. You know, I could totally see them beating Dallas at home. You got to figure that they're going to beat New England. I could see them beating the Chargers. It's an away game for them, but I could see them beating the Chargers. The Chargers haven't looked great this season, and I could see them beating the Chiefs, and that's 4 wins right there. So then their losses could be to Philly and Miami, or depending on what the division situation looks like, with Miami having a pretty big lead in that division right now, assuming things stay as is, who knows? Maybe they don't play their guys week 18 and Buffalo takes a win there. I mean, it's weird how this schedule falls for the Bills, but they're all winnable games. I mean, if you were to tell me that Buffalo's going to go undefeated the rest of the regular season, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, I'm not planning on it, but it wouldn't shock me, especially if they show up like they did yesterday. So we'll see. It's still, the playoffs are in front of them right now. They're a half game out of a wild card spot, but you got to figure these the AFC North teams are going to beat each other up a little bit, and one of them's definitely going to fall out of the picture, maybe 2. So we'll see going forward. But like I said, after 1 week of Joe Brady, I think this Bills team is back on the right track. I think this offense is back on the right track, more importantly, and this week will be the test, right? Going up against a high-powered Philly offense and a Philly team, well-coached team, high-energy team, in an environment like Philadelphia. That's going to be the test to see where this Bills team's really at. So we'll see y'all next week. Hopefully it's going to be a fun week to talk about. Hopefully we're going to sit here and we're going to say the Bills Super Bowl window is back wide open, and the Josh Allen MVP case is, worth talking about again. So until then, we'll see y'all next week. Enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Enjoy the football games on Thursday, and hopefully Buffalo pulls it out Sunday against the Eagles. Appreciate y'all for listening in. Go Bills.